soft.
Pretty soft.
Pretty dry. But there's a base under there. There's going to be fast spots. There's going to be hike-a-bite spots.
Hey, race fan, Brian Davis Races, and you can too. Today we are at the first SnowCrown race of 2024 season for fat biking, and you guessed it, I'm pretty excited about it. So we just got dumped 12, probably up here in the more rural area, it's like 14 inches, and it came mostly last night. So they've only had X amount of hours to groom, and that's going to create some interesting things. So George just told me there's going to be some hike bikes, some fast sections, some slow sections. So I think the best thing you can do at these kind of conditions is just say, I'm going to have fun. So that's what we're going to do. Have fun. Woo! Okay, just got my number. I'm all set with that. It's a season-long number, so I got to keep it on there. And my zip ties are giant, so that kind of sucks. But let's see. I am debating what to wear, as typical is like the hardest thing about fat biking is figuring out what you're going to wear without cooking yourself inside or freezing yourself to death during the race. Very, very hard to figure out because once you get started, it is so hard to pedal, especially in the soft stuff, that you are just, your heart rate is maxed. You're sweating like crazy, and it's fine for an hour, but if you were going to be out for a long time, you would not want all that sweat. How soft it is and how windy it is. Yeah, good times. Hey, I don't know if you caught this, but that's a new bike. So I got the head carbon rims, the Schwalbe non-studded jumbo gyms, lots of gearing, electronic gearing. That's the bear grease that I won last year at the end of season raffle. The seat post was slipping at the last event I did with that bike, so I put some carbon paste in there. Hopefully that fixes that. And you know, again, like I said before, a day like this, you just gotta put in your mind, like, I'm just gonna go out and have fun. Like, even if I'm dead last, who cares? It's just gonna be fun. So, fun, 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 fun. I have my tire pressure at 3 in the front and 4 in the rear. That's about as low as I feel comfortable going. And there's no grip. There's no grip. There's no float. These boys made it 10 feet and they're dropping their pressure, and then they will find out that you can't drop your pressure enough to make this work.
You have to be your biggest fan, and when things are really tough and they're really rough and nothing's working, but there's something inside of you that says, I just have to follow that, because you don't know who you're going to meet, who you're going to meet, who you're going to meet.
There's no way. This is not working out today, friends.
Because you don't know who you're going to meet, who you're going to meet.
All right, race fam, here we go with the quote-unquote whole shot. And I purposely wanted to fade back a little bit because I did not want to lead the charge on this, but I think Scott, who was next to me, had the same thought. So he didn't go when the gun went, and that means I didn't go when the gun went. So both of us were probably further back than we wanted to be. But no problem for Scott. He made up the ground. There's Paul. If you remember last year's videos, Paul fell last year at Refo and said, I hate myself. So I was going to remind him of that when he fell there. But I was a little too maxed out, man. This race was a lot of fun.
Soft.
Pretty soft.
Pretty dry.
Pretty soft. Yes, it was. It was just
Soft.
Pretty soft.
Pretty dry.
Pretty soft, pretty dry. That was the story of the day. So hats off to the Broken Spoke crew. I mean, they put this series on, so I don't have anything negative to say about it. Mother Nature dealt us quite a bit of snow, which is what we all want. However, Mother Nature gave it to us like less than 24 hours before the race, so there was just not enough time for the crew at Hilly Haven Golf Course to do what they need to do, or George's team to do what they need to do to get the course to be pretty rideable. So they did the best they could and actually made a last-minute decision
soft,
to
pretty
end
dry.
up plowing the course instead of trying to pack it down, to just move some of the loose snow, which ultimately was a great decision. So we at least got some capability to ride because of the plowing. And then by the time the second lap rolled around, there were a few more spots, but there were so many ruts. It was, you trade it in. Yeah, it's rideable, but you got to be right in the rut. So anyway, not the best race for me, of course. Didn't really put a lot of stock into the results. And it was just a tough course. It was just mentally a tough day. So we ended up only doing 2 laps, and the total race time was only 35 minutes, and that was plenty, believe me. Apparently, we were supposed to go further on each lap. There was a section that the lead riders inadvertently cut off, so everybody else followed them, and there was just a little bit of confusion about what the lap was supposed to entail, I'm told. And then, so Casey ended up winning the race, and I heard a rumor later in the parking lot that he didn't put a foot down, and I asked him the next week, I'm like, is that true? Did you do it? He's like, no, I put a foot down, but first lap was pretty smooth. Second lap, he had a harder time because of all the ruts. So it's good. There are mortals among us, even at the level that Casey races at. So super fun. I had a good time in retrospect. Now, if you'd have asked me the day or during the race how I was feeling or how much fun I was having, that would have been a different answer. But now that I've had time to digest the day, I feel good about it. And there was a lot of this. Just getting off the bike, getting on the bike, getting off the bike, getting on the bike, getting off the bike, getting on the bike. And I had to snow blow my Airbnbs the night before, so my back was just killed from doing the snow blowing. It's just not a group of muscles I use very often. Anyway, in the end, I'm only doing like a sort of an amalgamation of the first lap and second lap, so you'll have to kind of figure it out. But this was the only real story of the day. Was I got to trade punches with Brian. And so we just went back and forth a few different times. He'd pass me, I'd pass him, he'd pass me, I'd pass him, and we both had just good spirits about it. Like, man, it's just a weird day. What are you gonna do, right? So I think I ended up finishing, I don't know, like, I think, oh gosh, I should look, but maybe I'm just gonna make it up because I don't feel like looking it up, but there was like 14 people that finished, and I was 11th or something like that. One of the advanced category people, they were only doing 1 lap, and the elite folks were doing 2 laps. So one of the advanced people passed me, at least, which is a good indication that that person should absolutely, positively cat up, and that is the FatBike fellow with the aero bars, and even went so far as to tape aero fins on his FatBike fork. So I think homeboy just needs to get off the internet for a while. But in any event, and upgrade. Those are the 2 things he needs to do. So here this is the story of the day. Off the bike, running, when you could handle it, because your heart rate was just so spiked. If you've never fat biked, let me tell you, there's just something about the squishy snow underneath you that just makes it so much harder than you would think. So 35 minutes, you think, that's not a big deal. But man, my heart rate was just jacked for that whole 35 minutes. This is the first lap still, and I think I'm going to cut to the second lap, somewhere around the second lap. But this was the story of the day, just Brian and I trading punches back and forth. And, neither of us were, like, super worried about it, but it's just the way, when he would fall, I could get an extra 10 feet of riding that he couldn't get, and that would be enough for me to catch up and pass him. So there was a lot of that kind of stuff going along. And, yeah, I don't think there's anything they could have done to make the course different or better or really changed anything. We had some fun conversations, the organizers, another organizer, David, and I, about, like, maybe we just do a TT. Maybe we do a competition to see how far you can go before you put a foot down. Maybe we do the only rule in this series is your tires have to be a certain size, so maybe I just take my wheels off and run with my wheels for the whole lap and don't even take the bike frame. That was kind of a fun idea. I like that one. So, yeah, good times. So this is on the way back to the finish line. I am now in the second lap. Somewhere in there I switched to the second lap. So I passed Brian that last time, and then I was able to just stay focused and try to keep as much riding momentum as I could and just hammer down to see if I could at least get in front of Brian, which I did, and I feel good about that, I guess. Better than not being in front of Brian, I suppose. But anyway, I just did a FTP test today, and this is like 2 weeks after this race, but fitness is great, weight is fine, everything's going. Actually, fitness might even been a record. I was 4.08 watts per kilo on the FTP. FTP was 319 I've had a higher FTP in the past, and I do the 20 minutes, so it's an algorithm. Thank you. And anyway, that's where I'm sitting at the moment on January 25th, 2024, and I feel good about that as I'm got 2 more fat bike races to go. There's another race after this. I'm going to work on editing that. So this is the Fatty Shack race, and then the next race is the Aaron's US Open race, which is a really cool race and course. Can't wait to show you that one. So be sure to subscribe to the channel, like, and comment on this video. What would you have done if you were the organizers to try to make this more rideable? What would you have done if you were racing in these conditions to try to have more fun or go faster?
Race, fam.
What would you have done? Tell me.
That was 3.6 miles. Can you believe that? 3.6 miles took me, I don't know, 35 minutes or whatever it was. But that was enough. I probably could have done one more lap, but then it would have gone way into the miserable zone. So 2 laps was just about right today. Oh well. Better than sitting around doing nothing, I guess. I showed up, and you can too. First fat bike race or first race?
Yes.
Nice.
Cool.
Awesome. What's your name?
John, right?
Hey John, Brian.
Nice to meet you.
So what made you pull the trigger to finally race?
Just one of those things. I've always wanted to do it. When I was 35, I almost did a criterium.
Yeah.
But that was 11 and a half years ago, and it never happened because of the city. They never did the towed race anymore. So
Yeah.
I'm like, this is a fun thing. Got a fat tire bike a couple years ago, and something to do.
Right on. Good job, man. Let's go get him.
Thanks, brother.
All right, I'm
Appreciate
excited for you now. Did he talk to you about air pressure?
What should I go like
We're too
3?
high right now.
I'm way too high right
Yeah,
now.
okay.
Yeah.
Like down to 3, you think?
Yep. I was 2.5 and 3, and it was.
Yeah.
There's not much you can do. There's no right answer today.
Right.
It's just.
Okay.
It's all up here.